back, Saints in Training, and if you're joining us for the first time, I welcome you and thank you for being here. Today we're going to talk about chapter Mark. It's my first day with the Bible. I'm going to talk about Mark chapter 8, verses 34 through 38. Now, if you're new here, you don't know my drill, what I ask you to do after I read the scripture is to hit the pause button and let it marinate a little bit. Think about what sticks out to you. Maybe take a note on it and see if we cover it here. If not, you can leave a comment below and leave some information about what stuck out to you and maybe how you could apply it to your life. All right? So let's get started. Let's read the scripture. Mark chapter 8, verses 34 through 38. This is giving us basically the conditions for discipleship for saints in training. So this is like a foundation point, right? Foundation. He summoned the crowd with his disciples and he said to them, "Whoever wishes to come after me must deny himself and take up his cross and follow me." That's huge. "For whoever wishes to save his life will lose it, but whoever loses his life for my sake will save it, and that of the gospel will save it. What profit is there for one to gain the whole world and forfeit his life? What could one give in exchange for his life? Whosoever is ashamed of me and of my words in this faithless and sinful generation, the Son of Man will be ashamed of him when he comes in his Father's glory with his holy angels." All right, so hit a pause. Hit a pause for a little applause. Okay, welcome back. All right, the first things that stuck out to me is that he says to his disciples and to the crowd, "Whoever wishes to come after me must deny himself and take up his cross and follow me." It's amusing to me that he says this to his disciples equally, in equal measure with the rest of the crowd that's there. So in other words, even though that they had followed him, he's telling them that he has, in order to be his disciple, they still have to deny themselves, take up their cross, and follow me. Practically, how this applies, it's going to be different for everybody because we live in a generation where we don't like to deny ourselves anything, like nothing. We don't want to deny ourselves all the phone we can get, all the food we can get, all the sex you can have, all the whatever. Fill in the blank with your own thing. We all have something, right? And sometimes, a little bit of phone, that's not bad. But when your life is your phone, we gotta double check some stuff, right? Things that get in the way of our relationship and communion with God are anything that we put ahead of him and replace the emptiness we feel without him with this whatever we're not denying ourselves of, right? The other thing that it goes in tandem here is he says, pick up your cross. That's also not something we're very good at anymore. And maybe we never were. I mean, he is talking to a group in the BC, on the cusp of the AD. So he's telling them this, but it fits us right now today too. For who you have to pick up your cross. We don't like to suffer as a society. We even we have all kinds of everything to keep us from suffering. You look a little old, well, we'll plump you up and fill you out. And, we don't like to suffer and we don't like to look suffery and all that kind of stuff. We want to be indulged and pampered and spoiled. So taking up the cross, that's a whole big thing, and that's going to be different for everybody too. A lot of my cross is some of my mental health issues, like my depression and whatnot, and my PTSD. Like, I have to take up that cross. That doesn't mean I don't stop working on it. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I have to accept my cross, that there will be suffering in this life. Duh. Even though, have you ever met somebody who's never suffered anything? Or better yet, have you ever met a child who's been given everything and never had to, like, earn it, never gotten a butt smacking? They're miserable human beings. Well, Jesus is not saying all this to punish us, but he's like, deny yourself, because, spoiled things aren't good, and pick up your cross, which means, have patience. Hold on. Have patience in the suffering that you do have. I'm not advertising for this water, though it does kind of taste like water out of a hose from 1980. So, pick up your cross and follow me. And people kind of gloss over this, but follow me. Where did Jesus go? He went straight to the Golgotha. He went straight to Golgotha, on the cross, crucified. He sacrificed his everything for us. And he's telling us, get ready, pick up the cross, and follow me. Not everybody's going to be called to that, but we've got to all be prepared for that. I'll give you, for instance, in World War II, there was a Catholic priest, Maximilian Kolbe, and he was in, I believe, Auschwitz with the rest of the prisoners, and most of them were Jewish. Well, a prisoner escaped, and the Nazis, being logical and fair, decided they were going to kill 10 people by starving them to death in a room. And one of the gentlemen that they picked out of the crowd was a man who begged for his life because he had a wife and children. Sorry, I don't know what's going on outside. So, Maximilian Kolbe, not having a wife and children, he stepped forward and he volunteered to take the man's place as tribute. Well, no, not as tribute. This isn't the Hunger Games. So, as tribute to God, though, I was going to say. And to spare the Jewish man his life, and he did. So they put him in this room with these 9 other people, and they prayed together, and they sang songs together, and one by one, each of them died until Maximilian Kolbe was found 9 days later, still praying and alive. And they ended up having to inject him with, I believe, carbolic acid to stop his heart. That's intense. And that's somebody who denied himself, he picked up his cross, and he followed Jesus unto death. And it goes on later, for whoever wishes to save his life will lose it, but whoever loses his life for my sake and that of the gospel will save it. And I would say that that priest saved his life that day. He, for love and for a stranger, the way Jesus died for each of us, sacrificed himself so that somebody else may live. And he did live, and he was liberated. And that's an interesting story, but you should Google that. Anyway, what profit is there for one to gain the whole world and forfeit his life? What could one exchange for his life? Now this hits me hard, this last part. Whoever is ashamed of me and my words in this faithless and sinful generation, the Son of Man will be ashamed of him when he comes in glory with his holy angels. I want you to pause and consider that. I want you to Selah, pause and reflect. I want you to think of the person that you admire most in your life. I'm going to take a sip of water so you can think about that. Actually, I'm taking a sip of water because my throat's bothering me. person you admire most in your life. Now, magnify that by about 1,000,000,000. This is your ultimate creator. He formed you in your womb, in your mother's womb. He is the source of all love and all life. And he's going to be ashamed of you. No, thank you. No, thank you. No, thank you. I have gotten the look from my mother before, God rest her soul, and my father, that said, I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed. And that like destroyed me. Okay? And there have been other people that I have admired throughout my time on this world that I never wanted to see the look or in their eyes that said that they were ashamed of me or I was disappointed. Now imagine that about 100 times fold, and for basically not having a relationship with him. That's what it's called, to have a relationship with me. Let me be your friend. Let me be your friend. It's not about controlling you. It's about guiding you. Lead, guide, and direct. I say lead, guide, and direct a lot when I pray. And I've got Mike Pence's fly here, flying around. Anyway, I don't want to do that. People think that God is some rule Nazi in the sky, but the truth is he's trying to protect us. Who amongst us would not slap a baby's hand away from a fire to keep him from being burnt? Denying ourselves and taking up our cross seems very extreme and very hard. But everything that I've been leaned towards, that I thought I couldn't live without, were usually something that I would become enslaved by. So he's saying, oh my gosh. He's saying, deny yourself and take up your cross. Follow me. It's a lot to think about. So here's the thing. Think about it, pray about it. Leave your thoughts below. And if you enjoyed our videos or my videos, hit like, subscribe, smash the notification bell, and you won't miss a thing. All right? Tune in next week. We'll be at another scripture. God bless. You're not in this alone.